man. Alright, so when did you fall out of love with Nintendo? Oh gosh. Just a disclaimer in the beginning, I am not a non-Nintendo fanboy. I am not an Xbox or Sony fanboy. Up with Sony and Xbox, down with Nintendo. This is just my general views over the world of Nintendo and how I've grown. And we're just gonna start off. So the once most popular, soon-to-be video game console ruler of all time that came in waves and personally saved probably video gaming as it is when the downfall of Atari. And then, at one time the only competitor it really had was Sega, and how they duked it out for many years before Sega finally was kind of drifting away and Nintendo was pulling ahead. The NES and the Super Nintendo was all we played when I was younger. That was literally it. Excuse me. And then just the pinnacle of gaming. And it just seems like over the years, the company itself has gotten boring for me. Besides some of the main franchises like Mario, Zelda, and stuff like that, I've really just fallen out of love with the Nintendo. So let's just jump right into it. Now, it all started, the very first console I ever had was, of course, like a lot of people that were born in the 80s, Nintendo. Played great games like Super Mario, Jackal, Paperboy, and many, many others. I remember my buddy we'd play Kids Jeopardy, Adventure Island, Contra, and it was just like absolutely amazing. And then later on, of course, we got into Super Nintendo. Now, I didn't have one growing up. I was a Sega kid. And maybe that's why I'm so more nostalgic for the Super Nintendo, because I didn't personally have one. But whenever I spent the night at my friend's house, that was all we played. Street Fighter, Super Mario World, Mortal Kombat. There was a couple of football games he had, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and Super Metroid, Castlevania. And it was just like absolutely amazing. And then, I don't know, man. Once that Nintendo, and I know, like I said, a lot of people I might get a lot of hate for this. And like I said, I don't want to say that I don't personally think that these are the worst consoles ever created. I've just, and I'm not necessarily matured as a gamer, but I went on to different kind of consoles after this. There was just something about it. The N64 was a big turning point for me. I did have an N64, but I didn't play it as much as the PlayStation that I got. Now, the PlayStation I loved it. There was just something about it. I think it was the RPGs, it was the games and stuff like that. I recently seen a couple people commenting and replying about something, and they're arguing how technically, graphic-wise, the N64 was more superior. I don't really believe so, but it is what it is. But the N64 was still kind of huge for me. We were playing great games like WrestleMania 2000, GoldenEye, obviously Mario 64, Super Smash Brothers, and for a party system, Mario Party specifically and stuff like that, it was an amazing system. The fact that you could have 4 players at once was huge. And in order to do that on, say, the PlayStation, so you had to buy a multi-tab, and there wasn't really that many games that were up to 4 players. But as this progressed on, after this, like I said, when PlayStation came into the game, Sega kind of drifted out. It was now down to just freaking PlayStation and Nintendo. And I'm sorry, but PlayStation won that generation to me. And then after that, stuff just went the other way. Obviously the GameCube came out. I had a GameCube for a little while, but after getting games like Mario Sunshine and some of the few other ones, I did not like the GameCube, and even to this day, I do not, like the controller. It always takes me a little bit to get used to it if I want to try and play Wind Waker or Smash Melee, which is one of my favorite games. Also, Mario Kart Double Dash is probably one of my favorite Mario Karts, and that's on the GameCube. But this was when the Xbox also came into play, and that was what I loved. The Xbox just came out, it was edgy, it was, it was black, it was just kind of like, And of course, being from the U.S., it was an American-made console. We finally really had one. We had our console. And I just remember games like Halo and stuff and Fusion Frenzy and just being like, all right, cool. And then it just seemed like, and I know it's different to everybody else, but in our general vicinity, like I said, we had an N64. A lot of my friends had N64s. And after this generation, the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube, literally none of my friends had a GameCube, guys. Now, I know that's going to sound unrealistic. People aren't going to believe that, but none of my friends had a GameCube. They all either had a PS2 or an Xbox. And that might be where this kind of started, too, because this was about the time that I really just kind of outgrew. I sometimes say it, I outgrew Nintendo. Not necessarily saying that, it's a kiddie console or anything like that. But I just kind of fell out of love with it. There was a lot more edgier stuff going on the PlayStation and then an Xbox. And then from then on, it just kind of changed a little bit too. We see the Wii come, and they introduced motion controls. They really pushed that, and then I think at the time, I purchased a Wii before the other consoles because I loved this motion control concept that came out. And I was very disappointed when I got the Wii and only played games like Wii Sports and, if you even want to call freaking Twilight Princess, that was a joke. I hate that with the motion controls. But I didn't even have my Wii for that long before I sold it and put the money towards an Xbox 360. And that's by far one of my favorite consoles of all times. I just have so much great memories there, obviously with like Fallout, Oblivion, and Mass Effect, and just the online capabilities of it and everything like that. Just from then on, I was not buying consoles from Nintendo at launch. The Wii was such a huge disappointment to me. The kiddie games, for the most part, I know there was a couple on there that were a little bit more, whatever, but they really just hollowed in on the family-oriented gaming console. But meanwhile, I was young. I was like, no, I wanted something a little bit more, like I said, I keep using the word edge, but that's kind of the way to describe how it was. So, I had the PS3, we had the Xbox 360. Now, I didn't have a PS3. This is when I kind of went off into the Xbox, area. But yeah, and then after that, guys, the Wii U came out, and we didn't even know it existed. Literally, I thought it was just kind of an add-on to the Wii, because obviously, Wii U, I thought it was just a little bit of an add-on. It wasn't until almost a whole year later that I found out that it was actually its own console. And then, by that time, Xbox One was starting to come out, PS4 was coming out, and then even just the Switch, guys. So I ended up getting an Xbox One, played that for many years, and then I think it was a few years after the Switch came out, I finally got one, and that was only because everybody was ranting and raving about Breath of the Wild, and I was watching videos on it, and it looked absolutely amazing, so I figured out that I finally had to get a Switch, and also my youngest son was starting to grow up and actually start gaming himself, so it felt like something that we could play together. And like I said, I've always loved Mario, I've always loved games like that, Mario Kart and everything, so it seemed like a nice, good step. But I got it, and I just did not. I hate the Joy-Cons. I know I need to get a Pro controller someday, but on all honesty, the system itself is collecting dust. My son chooses to play his PS4 over it, and obviously I got a PS5 that I usually play. And I think the only time that we ever get into gaming on it is for, like I said, the holidays when the family comes over, because we'll play Mario Party and Mario Kart. And to me, it is just like a kind of a fun little party system. And it just doesn't have it just doesn't have it for me anymore. Now, I just want to end this on a note that just saying that, obviously I don't hate Nintendo or anything like that. I still respect it, and I love a lot of the stuff that they do. I love that they sometimes think outside of the box and try new things instead of the same old. And sometimes they're really cool stuff, and sometimes they're like the Labo, where it was like, what were you guys thinking? Like, this is garbage. One of my favorite things right there, you kind of can't see it, but where you were able to play, you got your little RC car, and you could set up waypoints, and then you could play. You could drive the RC car around and play and do races that way. That was really cool concept that they came up with. That they really just kind of drifted off that no one thinks about. But I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, I don't know. It's just over the years. Obviously, I don't necessarily put myself in as a Sony fanboy or an Xbox fanboy. I love all consoles, and like I said, I do play the Switch still, but I do not dive into it as much as I dive into a lot of my other stuff. Like I can sit here, like right now, I've been playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on my Xbox, and I'm sitting there for, getting free time whenever I do and playing for hours, and I absolutely love it. But it's just kind of, Nintendo just doesn't do that for me anymore. Yeah, I'm not even excited for the Switch 2. I honestly could care less. Now I know a lot of you guys out there love the Switch, and that's cool. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. You guys love it, you love it, guys. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of a weird conversation that somebody was talking about the one day, and I was kind of like, if Nintendo just did, I could care less about Nintendo's new consoles. But it's what it is. I want to know if you guys kind of agree with this in the comments below. Obviously, like I said, this is going to ruffle some feathers for some people that are diehard Nintendo fans, and that's cool, guys. I mean, obviously, we all have our own opinions on stuff. But I want to know in the comments below if you guys have kind of felt the same. Like, have you, over the years, just kind of grown away from Nintendo, kind of lost the love for it? Or if, you still extremely just into it and love it too. So, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. So, as always, stay retro, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.